In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council of South Carolina present Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday on Coping with Trey Tailor. Tailor, and please don't forget that we are streaming live on the In It Together Facebook page. Please go over there, hit like and share and follow, and find out when we go live on Wednesday, Wellness Wednesday, right here on Coping. We are also streaming live on the In It Together YouTube channel. Between the YouTube channel and their Facebook page, you can find out all types of great information, how to live a healthy lifestyle, how to find a diabetes prevention program in your city or virtually, because you want to get this information that will help you get support, the strategies and tips so that you can live the healthy lifestyle that you desire and deserve. We're also streaming live on the Tailor Made Production page on Facebook. That's the home of Coping, hosted by Trey Tailor. And please go over there, hit like and share and follow, and find out when we go live again on Wellness Wednesday from In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council. And then on Thursday and Friday, we're streaming live on our YouTube channel. Also, we would love for you to hit the subscribe button. There you will find 3+ years of information, interviews, and resources to help you cope. Because as we say, we'll always be coping with something. We also have a presence on Instagram and also on Twitter. Our theme this year is all about me in 2023, where we share information, strategies, and advice so you can focus on you spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and financially. Hey, don't forget, hit the replay button if you're just joining us for a great cooking demo from Chef Judy Etheredge. Right now, we're going to talk about what else we can do and how we should eat. Joy Price joins us. She's got a BS in human nutrition and is a nutrition and dietetic technician, registered, and a master gardener. Chelsie James is a nutritionist at DEHEC. Also, she's a graduate student at Winthrop University and also co-coordinator for SNAP-Ed's Cooking Matters program, which promotes cooking healthy meals at home. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you.
Hey, and thank you for having us.
Absolutely. You know, that cooking healthy meals at home sometimes can be a challenge, especially, I mean, I have two. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and between karate and basketball and ballet and taking them to school and working, girl, if they can eat some Cheerios for dinner, you know what I'm saying?
Hey. Heart healthy.
Yeah, that's what they say, girl, unless they're the Honey Nut Cheerios. I do a little bit better than that, but it is a challenge sometimes for people. Let's talk first basics. What are the food groups we should eat? I mean, I think we all know what we shouldn't eat, but what should we be eating and how much of it?
Yeah, so I will just first start off with my plate. My plate is the perfect kind of culmination of how your plate should look like. So you should have fruits and vegetables take up half your plate, and then for grains take up a quarter of your plate, and proteins take up a little quarter of your plate as well. And then there's a little thing of dairy. So dairy, you could, if you do have lactose intolerance or any milk sensitivities, you could probably lay off the dairy and go towards a calcium-rich cereal or juice or anything of that sort.
Joy, since you mentioned milk, what about cow milk versus almond milk versus soy milk versus oat milk? Is all milk created equally?
Not all milk is created equally, but I'm gonna toss this over to our culinary educator.
So that is a really great question about, is all milk created equally? So the answer really is no, but with processing, most companies are trying or striving towards making even those alternatives more equivalent to the true dairy options. And so the main thing that you really want to check on is that calcium content. So when you look at your nutrition facts label, I'm sure everybody sees the different minerals and different food nutrients that are listed there. So when you look at calcium, you really want to make sure that it has 20% or more. That is that key number that we're looking at to make sure, okay, this product is still giving us a decent portion of calcium. And then as far as our milk in general, we just want to make sure that we are dealing with the lower fat options, making sure that we strive for non-fat and low fat in as many cases as possible, to make sure that we're getting that, we're reducing that fat content that we consume.
Right. So skim milk, low fat milk is a better option.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Most plant milks do have no fat in there or no saturated fat, but I would say for the most comparable to the nutrient profile of dairy is soy.
Okay. Now, what about, we just watched that great food prep demo from Chef Judy, and a lot of people are kind of doing a lot of food prep, cooking all their meals on one day, maybe on the weekend, and then freezing or refrigerating for the rest of the week. Let's talk a little bit about how long we should keep food. I mean, I probably have a museum in my freezer.
Ooh. All right.
But and I'm the joke of the family. Y'all, you just keep things. But how long should you keep food in the freezer and the refrigerator?
Okay. So let's start with the refrigerator. Typically, once you've cooked an item, or let's say you've cut open a cucumber and you've exposed it to the natural elements, we want to make sure that we are eating those items that we store in the refrigerator within 4 days. So once it's gone past that 4-day threshold, bacteria could possibly be at a point that is unsafe to eat. And this is where things like food poisoning start to come into play. So it would definitely be best to maybe keep the items that you're going to eat between maybe Monday to Wednesday in the fridge, and then move everything else into your freezer. As far as the things that you are storing in your freezer, most things generally are good for around 3 to 6 months. There are
not years.
Right, not years, for those things that you're cooking. And so one thing that we would suggest is just write down a date. So if you're storing things in plastic bags or containers, just making sure that you're labeling it with the date that you put in it or the date that you maybe want to have it out by. So I would definitely say for things that you're preparing in your own home to stay on that, stay under that 6-month period with how long you keep them.
So what about when you've had something in the refrigerator and then you put it back in the freezer? Is that the same time? Is it still 3 to 6 months? Because I've heard that sometimes once you get it out the freezer, put it in the refrigerator, and then you put it back in the freezer, that's not a good practice.
Yeah, that is not too good of a practice. I know for one thing with meat, after you thaw your meat from once it's been frozen, it's not safe to kind of put it back in there. That bacteria has already, once it's thawed, that bacteria is already starting to kind of percolate in your food, and it will be unsafe to eat after that 3 to 6 months.
What about if you've cooked the food and then put it in the freezer? Is that okay?
Oh yeah, that's number one tip. To whenever you have an excess of certain food and items or certain leftovers, go ahead and put that up into the refrigerator once it's cooled down to a safe temperature, and it will stay for 3 to 6 months.
And to just build on top of that, another cool trick that you can do is just store your things in, when you're storing things in your freezer, put them into quantities that you know you'll use in one use. So for example, if you cook a soup and then you let it cool and decide to store it in your freezer, maybe you want to put those in individual containers based on how much you would normally eat. So that way you're not continuously thawing out a soup and then refreezing it.
Yeah. And so, and this may sound crazy, but I've heard people say that mold is good. So once you see mold,
once you see mold, it's time to go.
throw it out. Because you know what I have seen, guys? I've seen people like just throw out the moldy food and keep the other food. Is it all moldy, even if some pieces are not in moldy because it's in a molded environment? You know what I mean?
I would say yes. I would say yes. a thing about mold is once you start to see it, then that means that it's already been there, basically.
Gotcha.
So
even if you don't see it, even but it means it's there. It could be there.
It's right
like
here.
you got 10 strawberries, 3 are molded, the other 7 you don't see the mold. It's there, you just don't see it yet. Is that what you're saying, Chelsie?
Yeah, that is.
So
Yeah.
that is a good way to
Thank
kind
you.
of distinguish it. So with your strawberries, I would say wash them off.
Oh my God.
With
girl.
things that have a protective layer. So
Queen.
your fruits and things of that nature that have a skin or something like that, you can wash off those ones that aren't already affected. But for something like food that you've cooked, or something like rice or noodles or cheese or something that's all in one piece, or bread, for example, you wouldn't want to cut off moldy bread and use the rest, or cut off moldy cheese and use the rest, because those spores will still be there even if you can't see them.
One more question about mold. Is it the same for fruits as it is for fruits and vegetables as it is for meat, as far as keeping it in the freezer for 6 months?
At an event.
Okay, so all food, whether it's fruit, vegetables, or meat. Okay, all right. Joy Price is a nutritionist and dietetic technician, registered, and master gardener over at DEHEC. Chelsie James also joins us. She's co-coordinator of the SNAP Ed Cooking Matters program, which promotes cooking healthy meals at home. We are in our All About Me in 2023 series, where we are giving you tips, strategies, and information to help you do better physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And today we are talking about one of the biggest things that will help us, which is food. We were talking a little bit about when and how to keep food. What should we keep it in? I know you mentioned containers or bags. Freezer bags versus Tupperware. What's better? And does it have to be a certain kind of container?
You just want it to really be an airtight container. So your freezer bags and your Tupperware, as long as it's sealed tight, something where air isn't getting into it, both of those are equally great options. So whatever's in your budget is a great option to use. But
we do need to make sure it is, when we are Googling or whatever, or finding, shopping, it's an airtight container.
Because once that air gets in, bacteria is sure to follow.
Wow. What about, let's talk a little bit about seasonings, ladies, livening up your food. I mean, we know salt is a no-no, but let's talk about what is a yes.
Okay. I wouldn't say salt is a no-no, because you do need that salt whenever the summertime comes. We live in the South. We're going to sweat. So you want to make sure that you're replacing all that sodium that you do lose in your sweat. So salt is important, but too much salt happens.
That's a good point, Joy, because we always hear we shouldn't use salt. And I'll tell you, yesterday I was watching Gordon Ramsay, a chef, cook, and he was using salt. Now, maybe he wasn't cooking for us, but he was using salt. And I kept thinking, why is he using so much salt? He's sprinkling salt all over everything.
Yeah. It's one of the things that people would like to do when it comes to seasoning foods and whatnot. You want to make sure that things are flavored nicely, but you also want to make sure that it's not too much of the salt that you're flavoring things with. Salt is a flavor enhancer. So if there's no herbs and spices already present, your food is going to be bland and it's just going to taste like salt water. And we don't like that, do we?
Right.
So
we like the flavors.
We like the flavors. So there are many blends that you can do at home. And you want to kind of steer clear of those pre-seasoned blends, because they always have salt as that first ingredient. Because typically most people in our community are very sensitive to salt. So when it comes to your blood pressure, it's very triggered when it comes when it is encountering salt, that is. So season, make your own seasoning blends. So really simple seasoning blends are in our Eating Healthy in a Snap cookbook. It's in one of the first few pages. We have probably 6 different seasoning blends. There's a jerk blend, taco blend, and all those blends predominantly rely on spices and herbs instead of salt as the base.
Yeah. So anything but salt. And then of course, when we'll see like a garlic salt, that still has salt in it.
Yes,
Right.
it has a good bit of salt in it. So always stick with either some type of garlic powders, and anything that says like no salt or salt free. Those are good. So Mrs. Dash, she has a blend and she's a little pricey. So I would say if you hit up Dollar General and you go through their seasoning blends, you pick up all the ones that you want and you make your own seasoning recipes. Because it's really fun, for one thing, to get the kids involved when it comes to seasoning, and so they get to see and learn how to season their foods without using salt.
What about MSG? We hear a lot about that also. Is that a yes or a no?
In the everyday kitchen, a lot of people don't use MSG, and the research that they pulled it from, they were giving rats an enormous amount of MSG, something unnatural. So I would say MSG is not necessarily a huge concern for our diets. Typically, when you go out to certain processing, when you eat a lot of processed food and packaged foods, you will be encountering possibly a MSG toxicity levels. But I wouldn't necessarily be too worried about MSG.
Yeah, I've also seen a lot of studies that have been done on MSG recently. It's kind of been trending, and a lot of these studies are all coming to that same conclusion, that the research that we have are in amounts that you wouldn't be able to obtain in one day, and that the results that you see in those rat animal studies, they just don't translate, because we would never reach that threshold. So it's not something that you necessarily have to be worried about.
Okay. What about portions? Everybody's supersizing everything these days. Yeah. And, I did anyway, came from a culture or time when you ate everything on your plate, whether you were hungry or not. So let's talk a little bit about portions. How much is too little? How much is too much?
Yes. What we call it in Snap Ed office a lot is that portion distortion, because, we're at the point now, when you go to a restaurant, they give you very large portions of food. And
girl, I'm eating all my French fries. I'm just saying. I'm not saying.
Red Robin's refilled my French fries.
So it's kind of hard, now to identify what is a proper portion. So we can start off with our protein, because I think that's something that's definitely overindulged, when it comes to restaurants and eating out. Yeah, meat. Definitely.
Protein is not necessarily meat. Protein for me as a vegetarian would not be a steak, but go ahead, Chelsie.
Hey, I definitely understand that. I'm also, of the non-meat eating variety, but, for those who do, the proper size is normally about the palm of your hand or a deck of cards for that protein. And so that is a lot bigger than probably the steak that you might be served at a restaurant. So, things that you can do is maybe portion off a bit of it and keep the rest. Assess yourself while you're having that good conversation with your friends and family, and see, do I want to eat more, or is this, proper amount enough for me? And then what else do we have? We have our grains.
Grains, yes. With your grains, you typically want to make half of them whole grains. And the reason why you want to make half your whole grains whole is because in our diets itself, we are very, very low on the intake of fiber. So you want to at least make half of those grains whole grains, and you want to make sure that you get a hand cup or a tennis ball size of grains on your plate for each serving.
Mm-hmm.
And grains would be rice or potatoes.
Rice.
So our grains would be like the rice, your pasta,
Right.
Quinoa, your oats. Maybe we're doing breakfast, so your oatmeal, your grits. Those would be examples of your grains.
And then vegetables. Can we eat too many vegetables, or can we eat as much as we like?
Well, honestly, right now, I think everybody can benefit from eating some more vegetables. It is not a high percentage of Americans that are eating 5 servings of vegetables and fruits a day. So, what we like to say is our recommendation is strive for 5. So you want to have 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, leaning more so on 3 of those servings being vegetables and 2 being fruit. So we want to be more vegetable heavy. So I would not say that too much is an issue. We definitely want to eat as many as we can. For sure.
But what is a good serving size?
A good serving size would be about 1/2 a cup.
Yeah.
1/2 a cup.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so altogether throughout the day, you probably want to have 5 cups of fruits and vegetables throughout the day. So this is incorporating it in your meals and also in your snacks as well.
All right. Chelsie James is a nutritionist at DEHEC and coordinator of a SNAP-Ed's Cooking Matters program. They promote healthy meals at home. And then Joy Price joins us. She is a nutrition and dietetic, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, technician registered at a DEHEC and a Master Gardener. How do you say it? Dietetic.
Yes,
Dietetic. All right. So as we wrap up, ladies, let's talk a little bit about meal planning, eating out, fried foods, sweet, salty treats, and sodas. Let's talk about eating out first.
Yeah.
What should we aim for?
So
and is there anything good now? And then I guess we could do fast food versus, a sit down meal, because we're so in a hurry. We got to grab and go.
So one of the things that whenever I go out to eat, one of the things I always look for is their side menus, and see if their side menus have an adequate amount of fresh whole fruits or whole vegetables on there. So if they have a fruit salad, I will get the fruit salad. Or if they have Jell-O, I will get Jell-O. But it all depends on that restaurant. So I wouldn't say fast food is better than a sit-down restaurant, because they're all going on the portion distortion size. They're going to always supersize it. So a good thing to put into practice when you're going out to eat is to always either have a doggy bag to go and save half of your meal for later on in the evening or later on that week. But make sure that you are also storing that safely once you put it away. And I will also say, when it comes to eating out, anything that is grilled, go towards it. The lower amount of saturated fat that you can eat while you're out, go ahead and do it.
And that's great as far as a grilled chicken sandwich. But what about a burger? Joy and Chelsie, if somebody just wants a good burger from wherever, I don't want to start naming names, but a good burger, is it about the condiments you put on it as opposed to the burger?
Yeah, it's all about how you build that burger, because you can also have a whole grain bun. You can have a regular bun if you're craving that type of grain. Always try to make sure that you can get as many vegetables as you can on that burger.
Lettuce, tomato, pickle.
Lettuce, tomatoes, pickle. My thing is avocados, mushrooms, and tomato. So I just mix up as many whole fruits and vegetables that you can on that plate whenever it comes to a burger, so you can get that meaty fix if you want.
So what about ketchup versus mayonnaise? Versus, I don't know what other kind of honey mustard, maybe.
when it comes to eating out, I always want to go for something that I can indulge in and something that I can also feel good about and not feel bloated after eating. So if I want mayonnaise, I'm going to get mayonnaise. And then if I also want to do a little bit of ketchup, I'm going to dip my fries in ketchup.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but I always would say have them off to the side, because you can take the portion that you
want. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And
So go ahead, Chelsie.
Sorry, I was going to say that's a really good point too. When it comes to those salads as well, definitely getting those salad dressings on the side so that you can determine and choose how much you really want to flavor your meal.
Yeah. What about fried foods? French fries versus onion rings?
So
I'm an onion ring person, but I'm a French fry person. I like crinkle cut fries. I'm kind of and potato chips.
Oh yes, and all the chips, all those yummy things, you can always have them. However, do you always have them every day?
Right.
It's all about frequency, and eating those things in moderation is key. So if 1 week I want onion rings, I'm going to make sure I get those onion rings. But I'm not going to make sure I have those onion rings every day of the week.
Yeah.
But
once a week, then, Joy, what is the optimal amount of fried food that you should eat per week?
I don't know personally the optimal amount of fried food, but I will say however infrequently as infrequent as you can.
Right,
so that's twice a month. You get those.
Month, not week.
And if it's once a week, hey, that's also good for you as well. But just see how you can stretch in between those times, in between those indulging points where you want to have those onion rings. Because I promise you, if you stretch that time in between the next time you have those onion rings, you're going to savor them.
They'll taste even better. Yeah. Let's talk about sweets and drinks. What about, how much? I mean, we know that sugar is the reason for everything good and bad. Gives us some false energy. But, between the pounds and the diabetes and even contributing to high blood pressure. Let's talk a little bit about sweets as we move into eating more sensibly or healthier in the new year.
Yes, so sweets are a big thing. I love sweets.
Me too, Chelsie. You can have your meat, but Lord have mercy, I love sweets.
Right. So it's definitely one of those things that you can enjoy in moderation. But I think that especially when it comes to those beverages, we kind of have to choose where we want to indulge in these items and when we want to indulge in these items. So with our sugar sweetened beverages, so that would be anything from like your sweet tea, your sodas, even things like Gatorade and Powerade that often have a lot of sugar in it. What's common in all of these items is that they have sugar. They don't necessarily have the nutrients that we also need to really even balance out what we're consuming. And so one thing that we want to do is kind of just, our goal is to not consume more than 25 grams of added sugar in a day, and which is one of those things that will be featured on your nutrition label when you're reading them. But when it comes to some of these sodas, they will have 110% of that amount that you're supposed to have in a day. So they go way overboard. So one soda could really potentially be your kind of sugar max for the day, especially depending on the size. So things that we would want to do is just try to drink more water, drinking more of the low fat milk and things like that kind of give us more nutrients or hydrate us so that we can focus on consuming more food versus.
Yeah, before we go, I do want to clarify something because you said, because I'm a big water drinker, but you're right. I think I'm doing good as far as sweets, but I love sweets and I love onion rings, but I drink water 99.9% of the time. Is that okay? I mean, can you indulge in one thing if you are, if you're eating clean or drinking clean in another area?
I think that gives you more opportunities. Yeah. So I would say if there's an area that you're really strong in, like drinking water every day versus drinking a sugar sweet beverage, then yeah, definitely I wouldn't feel bad about, enjoying some ice cream. And then there's things that we were talking about portion sizes earlier. So another thing is just being cognizant of how much you're consuming. So let's say somebody really, I know somebody out there that we're speaking to really enjoys drinking a Pepsi every day. So maybe we might want to, as a short-term goal or a smaller goal to break it up, maybe we just want to go down a size and slowly start to consume less of that.
Chelsie, James is a nutritionist at DEHEC, co-coordinator of SNAP-Ed's Cooking Matters program. They promote healthy cooking meals at home. Joy Price is a nutrition and dietetic technician registered and a master gardener at DEHEC. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for breaking down what we should do, how we should do it during our segment. It's all about me in 2023. We're trying to get people to live their best life mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And we're giving this information so they can do just that. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. I appreciate it. And Happy New Year to you. I guess you can still say that.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. So listen, if you have a story or initiative that could help someone cope, please email Josephine at booking@copingwithtreytailor.com. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope, please email copingwithtreytailor.com. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor, just like In It Together SC and the Diabetes Action Council. They sponsor Wellness Wednesday every Wednesday here on Coping with Trey Taylor.
Hello, I'm Carolyn Sawyer, an entrepreneur and caregiver. Part of taking care of your health is knowing if you're at risk of type 2 diabetes. Prediabetes is serious and puts you at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. Up to 90% of South Carolinians who have it don't know they have it. Visit inittogethersc.org. Take an online test to find out your risk and join a diabetes prevention program. This message brought to you by the Diabetes Action Council of SC.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday lives, but when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
The Comet gives me a reliable source of transportation.
It's very convenient to me, and they have wonderful drivers.
It's clean, and it builds community. It's fun to meet people.
It makes me feel like really independent. It's just fun.
It's always going to be there, and it gets me everywhere I need to go.
We try to ride every single day. Comedy is our livelihood.
Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning. Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success, for improving living our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive. Ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting, learning what you can do. 6 ways to a better you. Coping, find peace of mind to survive